Come with me in this video as I import my fifth dog into the United States and I go over the whole process of importing a dog into the United States.
First things first, you got to find a breeder. This is a video the breeder sent me. That's my girl there in the pink collar. And when you find and look for a breeder, it's important that one, they are aware of the new CDC regulations, which of course require them to keep the puppy until they're at least 6 months old, because you can no longer import a puppy into the United States until it is 6 months old, which is a challenge in itself. And a lot of breeders cannot or will not keep a puppy for that long for many reasons. And if they do, they often will charge more. So I would say that's the very first step to see if they're even able to do that.
And something else really important you need to talk to your breeder about is their temperaments. And I cannot stress this enough because you don't get to see the dog's temperament fully, truly, until you already bought the dog and it's here. So it's so important that you ask thorough questions, drives, the parent's temperament as puppies, how the puppy reacts to this, that, and the other. Don't be scared to ask questions. If they get annoyed with your questions, then they're probably not a good breeder for you, because every breeder should be thrilled that someone is invested in making sure it's the right puppy for them. So you got to ask, how was the mom as a puppy? How was she? How was she as she matured? How was the dad as a puppy? How was he as he matured? Or as much as they know if they used a stud. Ask them if they see similarities in the puppy to how the mom was as a puppy. Ask so many questions about the temperament, because that is the one thing you can't really. You can see pictures of them, you can see their structure, you can get an idea, you can see their health testing, you can see their titles, you can see all these things. And if you don't ask thorough questions about the temperament, you could have everything perfect on paper. There can be the best titled male as the sire, you can have all these things, and then you end up with a dud because you didn't ask enough questions. You got one that didn't have any food drive because you didn't ask about that.
So let's say everything checks out then. Time to pay them. You can do a bank wire, as I'm doing here, or you can do Western Union, which is also pretty simple for the most part.
Is keyed an international wire.
Either way, you get the instructions from the breeder and you send your information to them as well, and then you go from there. Sometimes they have you do a split payment, sometimes you pay it all at once. Then you wait until it's time to pick up your puppy. Thankfully, the breeder takes care of everything from quarantine to passport and vaccines, etc. I personally have only had where quarantine was required before the dog flew from the country into the United States. And something really, really important is, if your dog is flying, just being shipped, just the dog, then you need a customs broker. If somebody is flying with your dog and bringing it as cargo, pretty much, you do not need a customs broker. If the dog is flying solo, you will have to go to the airport international imports warehouse and pick up the dog. You have to fill out a bunch of paperwork, and it's a little bit of a pain. Or you wait for them and then the dog comes with the person, which is a little simpler. If you're picking up with a person bringing the puppy, you just get their flight information and then you wait in international arrivals and see when they come. And then they will pretty much bring the dog out from the gate. But you can end up waiting for quite a while, as they have to go through customs, and then there's a lot of other different things they have to go through. But in the sense of what you have to do, it is simpler for you to pick up from a person bringing the puppy. If the dog is shipped by itself, then of course you have to go to a imports warehouse, and you go there and you tell them that you're picking up the dog. and they give you a bunch of paperwork to fill out. And then you, prior to all of this, you call and figure out, you search customs brokers near that airport you're picking up the puppy from, and then they will take care of it. But you have to talk to them and give them, flight information. And then they usually charge between $100 $150, and then they basically just make sure that you are able to take the puppy home and everything's good, because it is an import. They have to go through certain customs, and if you don't do that, you can risk them not being able to get your dog with you, and you can risk the dog being taken back away from you, and all kinds of stuff. I've read about some scary stories. Also, having a customs broker has saved me quite a few times. Well, a couple times. Because one time I came late in the evening when supposedly the no, apparently not supposedly. Apparently, the main part of the warehouse and the desk had closed, so I couldn't just fill out the paperwork they required. So I got there late, and I was going to drive straight home through the night with the puppy, and they almost did not let me take the puppy. But because I had a customs broker, I was able to. And it also happened with another dog I imported. There was some I did the paperwork and I came within their business hours, but I don't remember, but there was some other hiccup, and then pretty much the customs broker, which I never met or saw them, but they took care of certain paperwork, so I was able to take the dog. After that, you get your puppy in its crate and you start driving home. You of course want to get the dog settled and comfortable with you. And I will say too that a lot of airports, even though they do international flights, a lot of them do not do international imports. So I have airports near me in my state that do international travel, but when I go to pick up my puppies, I'm in North Carolina, I have to go to either Georgia or Washington, D.C. to pick up a puppy. That is something the breeder will usually figure out, though, as they try to make the shipping arrangements. And then you just keep trying the closest airports and see which one you are able to use. So that's pretty much it. I could go more in depth in a few different categories, but for the most part, that's how you import a dog.